Hi, I'm Sarah. We have already set our intentions and our prayers for this session, so enjoy and learn.
Several locations around the world, archaeologists have found skeletons with elongated skulls. Where did those skulls originate, or those beings originate?
Those particular beings they were very human like, however, with the skulls. I'm not getting the answer as to which, but they began. They were a group of ETs. That word is hard to say, extraterrestrials. No wonder your own people have trouble saying it. Anyway, there was a group of ETs came to Earth, thousands of years ago. Not necessarily to seed humanity, but to live and work and assist a certain group of humans who were just beginning their evolution, basically. And they were of one of the groups that it didn't totally take, shall we say. It was a failed experiment.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense based on the book I'm currently reading.
But your archaeologists don't want to have anything to do with that.
Don't.
But the elongated heads belong to the beings who lived amongst the early humans that they thought they were attempting to help. But it wasn't the way it was supposed to be necessarily. Not that it was bad, but it just didn't work out the way they thought, or the way the ETs thought it would, or even the early humans that they were part of.
What didn't work out?
The experiment, the
ET experiment, or the experiment between the early humans and the ETs?
Well, the experiment was actually from the ETs.
Okay.
But the early humans, those ETs were trying to bring things out of and for those early humans that it was too much too soon. Those humans were not ready.
Okay.
So the experiment ultimately failed, and the ETs died out. The early humans, many of them in that group died out, but many more were able to go out and mingle with other groups of early humans and, blend their
So when these aliens arrived, were they just dropped off?
They arrived in a ship.
But that's mean, did the ship land, leave them off, and then exit again? Or did some of them survive and leave?
There were some who stayed on the ship, and it's funny how you would describe it as being dropped off at the corner of these two intersections. No.
Yep.
But
there's the Nazca lines are pointing where we need to go.
Not quite. Anyway.
I know.
But it was more of the ships travel in such a way that I'm not going to divulge because I don't fully understand it.
Just
anyway,
one word of how they did. Did they fold time, fold space? Did they do as Bashar's people do, just think about it and they're there?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, that's
And then the
enough.
ones who were going to do the mingling with human beings, with the early humans, stayed, and the others in the ship left
Okay.
because it was an experiment. You don't
So-
always stick around.
No. So in a way, you could say the aliens had an outpost here.
Oh, there were
In a way.
many
Yes.
types of what you might call an outpost, but they were
There
more like
hundreds,
well, they were what?
hundreds of them there.
Oh, man, maybe not hundreds, but more like colonies.
Well,
Colonies of civilizations. Some worked, some didn't.
okay. I'll leave it at that.
And it depended on which ETs what they wanted to accomplish. Because there were a number of quite a few different ETs coming to Earth to see what they could do. And they would experiment and it didn't work. Or many experimented and ended up seeding human civilizations,
Because the experiment worked.
and the experiment worked and they grew. So the ETs kind of left, okay, this is good. And then humans being what they are, things happened. And a lot of that, say, technology, that knowledge would have therefore been lost. Maybe tiny pockets of humans remembered some of it, and it has come down through your physical linear history as mythology, as who the gods were and who they were not and what happened. And yeah, human beings are good at twisting all kinds of stuff, but they had help twisting it from some of the ETs that, not everybody is perfect. And even ETs who were trying to help humanity grow, there were some of them that made mistakes, and there were some that, for whatever reason, their desires went askew. So that didn't help the humans much. And I mean, many variables.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in the last session, I had asked, or maybe the session before that, if you could find more information out about what the Nazca lines represent. How was your quest on that?
The Nazca lines were originally put there as markers, shall we say, for any extraterrestrial group to know there was something going on there. And like I said, then things kind of went, as you say, went south or sideways or whatever. And much knowledge was lost. However, the peoples tried making more of those lines based on the little bit of knowledge they still had to try to bring those particular ETs back. And at that point, it was decided not to do that, not to come back.
Okay.
So that's why some of the lines don't quite have the same intensity, shall we say.
That's a good word.
as some of the others, because as time went on, this group of humans forgot exactly what they had to do or how it was supposed to work or what, just God's come back. And as time went on, more and more of that knowledge was lost, and they ended up, what are we doing? Squiggly lines here, whatever. So there are degrees of the word potency comes to mind.
Okay.
Of all the pictures, there are more to discover.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it started out to be an amazing thing, and it ended up being a pitiful thing.
A what?
Pitiful.
Oh.
Pitiful.
So, in other words, your answer to the question is no. I have no further information as to what they mean. Or the meaning behind individual.
Right.
Pictures.
That's not for me to
Pictographs.
divulge,
Okay.
but to explain kind of what they are and why. That I could do. And did. I hope I did that to your satisfaction. Uh-oh.
What?
Hesitation on your
Oh, I
part.
was reading the next question.
Okay.
Trying to figure out if it's really a question that is applicable
Wow.
based on what you answered previously. But it's here, so I'll ask it. This is a question I've based on something you said the last session. Since Source doesn't get caught up with emotions, should we learn to turn off our emotions?
No.
That's the answer I expected.
No, emotions are still important. It's how you behave when you're experiencing an emotion that can make a difference. You see, Source, how can I say this? Pulls in the emotions, experiences them, but doesn't get overwhelmed, shall we say, and then turn around and say there's a negative emotion, and then Source, I said he, but Source would then lash out because of this negative emotion. That would be, Source would identify too much with emotions. But Source does not do that. Source experiences them, acknowledges them, is interested in seeing how beings respond to them. And that's a learning thing for Source and a thing of interest. But when it comes to the beings, you don't want to turn off your emotions, because then you can't experience happiness and love and joy and appreciate beauty and the feelings that it gives you. You don't want to do that.
No.
And emotions continue to shape who you are too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good point.
Still,
That is true, but it's how you react to your
Yeah,
emotions that determines.
don't be ruled by them, but
Right. Don't be ruled by them, but accept them.
acknowledge them. Yeah, acknowledge them. And
Yes. You can be sad about something. Acknowledge your sadness. Allow yourself to cry or to tear up even just a little bit. But don't get depressed. Don't allow it to pull you down and start pulling yourself inward and not experience, pulling away from the potential to experience the good things. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet, and it's not working.
It's not working.
Not working. But I think you get the gist.
Yeah. I had a question a while back in this session on portals while I was out there refilling my drink, but now I've lost it.
Mm.
I also had several other questions since then that I've lost, but that's okay. It happens a lot. Are ETs assisting Elon Musk?
Oh, yeah.
That's all I needed to know. I thought so too.
But he's not entirely aware that
No.
they're ETs.
He's not. But, you know, Tesla had a lot of help. So did Einstein.
Mm-hmm.
So I just assumed that he was. Here went the question again. I've noticed that other channelers have talked about density, and so has Sarah. What is meant by that?
That's difficult to explain.
To me, density is heaviness. Something's more dense. It's a heavier substance. It's harder. It's more visible. You can see it. You can work with it. If something's less dense, it's like the air. You know it's there, you just can't see it. And based on what I've been reading, as we get higher and higher in dimensions, the things become lighter and lighter because there's more and more energy. So is that what they're referring to? Is the thickness, the viscosity of reality?
Viscosity, that's good. Yes, yes. Existence on the earth is very dense, which, well, the gravity of earth helps to keep beings on earth very dense. And that is one reason why many beings, when the physicality is done, they choose to become corporeal again on earth, to experience the gravity, to experience the density. It's fascinating to many beings. Because I don't know. I'm not going to say there are no other dense planets in the universe.
That's a
But
good question.
I suspect that Earth might be the densest, the most dense.
You had mentioned earlier saying that there aren't many 3D worlds existing.
Right.
See, that's the question I forgot about. One of them that she just reminded me of. Why is that?
Well, you also said not anymore. Like they're
Yeah, there's less number than there used to be.
Well, many have achieved enlightenment to the point where, I hope that doesn't come up on the recording. Your stomach is growling. To where their density lightened to the point where they don't need physical existence anymore. There are others, like Bashar's people, that are almost to that point where they don't need physical existence anymore. But physical existence is attractive. Many beings want it, hence they keep trying. And Earth is very attractive to such people, despite its linear idea of time. It's just because it's so unusual, the density of Earth is so unusual. It is a thing of fascination for other beings who may not be so enlightened that they are so close to source that they just kind of, oh, well, here we go again, kind of, an attitude. There they go. Let them do it. Because it is still experience. It still is learning. It still is becoming more enlightened. It's still part of the cycle.
Here was my concern when you said that, and why I asked my question. If you think of the long term, the way I am thinking, that means source is not requiring the creation of any more 3D worlds, which means they all are going to go away eventually, which meaning that source will no longer be around, and I found that difficult to deal with.
Source will always be around.
I know, but that was my thought process. Chasing down a rabbit hole.
That's pretty much what you're doing.
Ended in the gopher hole. Ended in the mole hole. Ended up in,
A mouse hole?
there are moles.
Rattle.
Nope, smaller, down into earthworm hole.
There you go.
Down into between the grains of sand and soil, into where the water flows. Then between all the water molecules. And,
Whatever experience source desires. And who knows? Maybe there will be some more dense and physical 3D worlds popping up somewhere else. Infinite possibilities.
yeah. As a sign behind me says,
Infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
That's a good start.
that's from Star Trek.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.